Am I the asshole for yelling at my husband to stop eating my food? I'll keep this pretty cut and dry. I have a lot of food allergies, gluten intolerance, IBS, lactose intolerance, I'm allergic to spinach and kale and other leafy greens in that family. I buy special food for myself as well as regular food for my husband who does not have any allergies or food intolerances. For some reason, my husband likes to eat my snacks as well as his own. Instead of going to get a new loaf of bread, he'll open my gluten-free bread and eat all of it. It's been an issue our whole relationship. He says it's because he wants to use all the food before we go grocery shopping again so nothing goes to waste. Now, I'm 13 weeks pregnant and the amount of things I can eat are even less. Pretty much the only things I can keep down are these very specific gluten-free crackers that are like $8 a box, and bananas. Yesterday I came home from my doctor's appointment and found out that he ate my whole brand new box of crackers. I had just gone grocery shopping and we had plenty of food and snacks for him to eat. When I asked him why he decided to eat pretty much the only thing I can keep down, he said he just grabbed some crackers, and he didn't see the big deal and that I was overreacting by being upset. He said he knows my pregnancy hormones are out of whack but I needed to control myself. That made me angry and I told him he needed to stop eating my food and making me feel bad for being upset or he wouldn't have a wife anymore. He got really offended and hasn't spoken to me since, and I feel like I overreacted due to my pregnancy hormones, but I also feel like I am kind of valid in being frustrated by my husband who has no allergies eating all my specialty food before I get any. Am I the asshole? He gets annoyed if I only buy things I can eat. He asks why he has to eat my diet when it's not him that has problems. My pregnancy was an accident. I guess my birth control failed or something else happened. It wasn't planned because we were working through issues and I didn't want to bring a baby into the world during a pandemic. Please stop telling me I was stupid for having a baby with him or to have an abortion. I can't get an abortion even if I wanted to. I'm simply asking for judgment on this situation. Not the asshole. This feels like a weird manipulative power trip. How long have you been married? Have you noticed any other warning signs? Next time you go shopping, buy just a billion of those crackers. Nothing else. Since he only seems to want to eat your things, fine, be petty and only buy your things. I couldn't be in another relationship where I was constantly disrespected and no matter how much I tried to communicate my spouse refused to hear me. Nah, if this were the first time. Even first handful of times. But he knows the only thing you can hold down are those crackers and he still did it and then tried to invalidate your emotions over it? What kind of crazy crap is that? Absolutely not. Edit, thank you for the awards. Not the asshole, your husband is a huge asshole. Husband, gets to eat everything he wants. Op, super food restricted, also pregnant, can eat like 2 things. Husband, I have a great idea. Let's eat the only thing my pregnant wife can eat. Op, rightfully fucking mad. Husband, shocked Pikachu face. I am gluten intolerant and a vegetarian, and my boyfriend would never dream of just eating all of my gluten-free stuff. He even bakes me super tasty bread and then doesn't eat any of it if I don't tell him it's okay. Your husband is shitty. Not the asshole. He said my pregnancy hormones are out of whack but I needed to control myself. He's dismissing your perfectly valid concerns by blaming it on your hormones? You weren't overreacting at all, you literally just asked him why he ate the only food you could eat. That's perfectly reasonable and it was the dismissal of your feelings that made you angry again, which is perfectly understandable. Also, it's crazy that he hasn't spoken to you since. That is not a good way for him to handle disagreements in the relationship. How long has it been? NTA and he is being a child. Looks like you are going to be raising 2, not 1. Why not buy exclusively stuff for your diet? That way you eat the same thing. He said he knows my pregnancy hormones are out of whack but I needed to control myself. Wasn't he the one that couldn't control himself enough to find a different snack? Seriously, which one's got the impulse control issues? Not the asshole. So not the asshole. Not the asshole. Your husband knows full well that you have a strict diet due to a medical issue, made worse by your pregnancy, and chooses time and again to eat the only things you can eat, unnecessarily. It's disrespectful as all get out. Then he used your pregnancy to dismiss you and try to make you sound like the one out of line. That's some sexist bullshit. Not the asshole. Eat him instead. Not the asshole. Your hubby is disrespectful and cruel. You just went shopping, which means there were likely 20 different things in the house for him to snack on, but he picked the one thing that you can eat and he ate the entire box. Maybe he is right that you shouldn't be so sensitive, but perhaps he shouldn't act like a pig. Not the asshole. Your husband sucks. I'm a supervisor at Whole Man Removal. Let me know if you require our services. Not the asshole, but your husband is. You already have such a limited diet and are pregnant. This is some weird psychological issue with him. Because a normal person would apologize and get your more crackers. Seriously. He needs to get his selfishness in check before the baby is born, because how else will it manifest? Will he eat the kid's food if the kid has allergies? Not the asshole. It's such a small thing to do to be considerate of you while you are pregnant, and he keeps doing it over and over. I wouldn't cave on this argument. I don't think you overreacted. Low-level disrespect and ignoring of reasonable requests gets really frustrating over time. OMG, not the asshole. He is trying to gaslight you using the pregnancy hormones as an excuse. Not okay at all. He didn't see the big deal. He is literally dumb. Are you supposed to starve yourself in the meantime? Not the asshole. You did not overreact cause of your hormones. You reacted cause he is behaving like a massive douche monkey. Not the asshole. Give him the option of buying exclusively gluten-free and accepting the higher food costs, or leaving your food alone. NTA, if he does it again, do what you promised him to do. It's not an asshole move at making your boundaries clear, and he crossed those a lot. You can barely eat and he guilt traps you for not letting him eat the only two things you can. Let a family member you're close with know, ask if you can stay with them or find a place you can stay at if it ever comes that far. His behavior is very toxic. Not the asshole. Honestly, what do you see in him? He doesn't respect you enough to not eat your food. He invalidates your feelings, especially about your pregnancy. And now he's putting the blame on you for something he did? What do you gain from this relationship? Not the asshole. God, this drives me wild. I'll often low carb as I have an enormous appetite and struggle to control my weight otherwise. I'll have 2-3 things in the house I can eat and loads of stuff that my wife can eat. Then I come and find her eating my stuff. There are literally 20+ snack items she could have chosen. Not the asshole. He's being rude. Plain and simple, and getting defensive when you want to talk about it isn't helpful at all. Not the asshole. He's behaving in an extremely selfish, self-centered way, and his greed or inattention, whichever it is directly causing you harm. Does he think your allergies and intolerances are imaginary or exaggerated? Some very stubborn people who feel like other people's needs are an inconvenience or illegitimate will react like this and deliberately try to either ignore food issues out of existence or try to prove them false. Whether it's something like that or he's just greedy or oblivious, it's not a good sign for how he will be as a dad, I'm sorry to say. Info: why haven't you left him yet? This is clearly abusive of him. I just don't understand why you married him if he was always like this. It's a blatant disregard for your health. Now he's sulking like a baby. Not you, the person who actually has a right to sulk, but he, the wrongdoer, is sulking. And he's going to be a father. If your child takes after you, he going to starve his kid too? Not the asshole, but what the fuck with your choice of husband and father? Not the asshole. Buy all gluten-free things, and if he complains, tell him to go shopping for himself, because when you buy for the both of you, he doesn't respect your boundaries and the things that are keeping you and the child you are growing happy and healthy. This is a giant red flag and makes me worried for you post-birth of the baby. Please have a clear talk with him about his immaturity and lack of respect for you and your health. He should know this. Him showing you he doesn't care about this is, and I'm sorry if this is harsh, that he doesn't care about you. He's keeping his pregnant wife from eating? Girl, this sounds more like a weird power thing than just him being careless. And being that careless would also be bad enough for me to pack my bags. But I think your situation might be worse. Is there somewhere you could go for a few days to think, and for God's sakes, eat? Not the asshole. I'm like 25 weeks pregnant and my roommate decided to eat my half of a BLT. He won't be making that mistake again lol. People need to realize you don't eat a pregnant person's food. Oh wow. Okay, so this is actually abusive. He's disregarding your needs, trying gaslight you into thinking this is normal behavior and weaponizing your pregnancy against you. This is dangerous to you, and even more so your baby. Edit, not the asshole by the way. Everyone sucks here based on the idea this has been an ongoing issue for you before marriage. You shouldn't have committed when these issues weren't resolved to a respected degree. Not the asshole. And threatening to leave him isn't unreasonable under these circumstances. He's leaving his pregnant wife who has dietary restrictions without anything to eat at home. I don't have anything nice to say about people who do this. Stop shopping for him for now. Get one of those lockers for the fridge and another for pantry items, and put your food on lockdown. If he refuses to be considerate of your physical needs, then stop doing him the favor of grocery shopping on his behalf. He's on his own. Not the asshole, he's gaslighting you. Tell him to grow the fuck up and pay attention to what he's doing. Eating because him not giving a shit has real consequences for you and his unborn child. Just had my baby 2 weeks ago. In my first trimester I finally wanted to eat something and I craved Hot Pockets. But my husband, who is definitely normally allowed to share the Hot Pockets, had unknowingly eaten the last one and I started ugly crying. Without having to say anything, he was out the door in less than 5 minutes and going to get me Hot Pockets. Your husband is a selfish, gaslighting jackass, and while I normally don't condone violence, he needs to be slapped. Not the asshole, and take drastic action. Get a food cage for your special food with a lock like you have college roommates, because that's how your husband is acting. He's treating you like a roommate instead of being a partner. It's not hormones, it's being legitimately upset that he's dismissive and disrespectful. Not the asshole. Stop buying any food except the food you can eat. Buy double of everything. Then he can scarf away happily at this food he seems to like better. Or get a lock for your pantry and keep your things in there. New ta. Until you permanently find a solution, lock your food. He asks why he has to eat my diet when it's not him that has problems. Sure didn't bother him when he housed that entire box of crackers. It's incredibly disrespectful of him to ignore your dietary restrictions like this, especially when there's literally 2 things you can keep down right now. If all of the non-special groceries are being consumed before you get through your loaf, then he needs to start buying more of his stuff or adjust to the fact that the cupboards will not be totally barren between grocery trips. Not the asshole, and I hope the nausea goes away soon because it's such a cruddy feeling. Not the asshole. You shouldn't have to, but maybe keep your crackers locked up somewhere he can't get to. Not the asshole. This makes me so mad for you. This seems like a boundary and respect issue to me. Anger aside, if you don't want him to eat something, hide it. It's not an ideal solution, but if you're the only one who knows where it is, then you're the only one that can eat it. Info: I'm concerned that he's eating a whole loaf of bread or a whole box of crackers in one sitting. Are you sure he doesn't have an eating disorder? Not the asshole. You have to buy special food. You have food on hand that your husband can eat and he plows through yours? Combining that with the way he is talking to you, that is absolutely valid grounds for divorce. Not the asshole at all. If you end up feeding your baby formula, is he going to drink that too? Or baby purees? Not the asshole. Does he really respect you so little that he doesn't care if you have no food to eat? He should learn to deal with the consequences of his actions instead of acting like a baby. You have food allergies and need special food. He does not, but still chooses to eat it. You could not be less of an asshole if you tried. OMG, you are so not the asshole. Your husband sounds very selfish and inconsiderate, to say the least. It's incredibly abusive to eat everything your pregnant wife can eat and then be mad at her. Not the asshole. Not the asshole. He's being selfish and inconsiderate. Deliberately depriving your partner of food, and in effect that's what he's doing, is not normal behavior. Don't tolerate it. Are you talking about your husband or a child? Not the asshole. So he doesn't want to have to eat your food, but it's okay if he eats it because he just feels like it or didn't notice. You are not the asshole. This is some weird power play stuff. I don't even know, but he's definitely the asshole. His argument about waste and money doesn't really track either, when so many of your foods will cost twice the amount of non-specialty foods. I can't get an abortion even if I wanted to. I genuinely like to understand that one. Not the asshole, what a prick your husband is. Not the asshole. My wife is gluten intolerant and it honestly sounds like your husband does not care about your dietary needs. Then he tried to blame you being upset about your food on pregnancy hormones. That is a weak-ass excuse made purely out of convenience. Anything you say that he doesn't like can be blamed on those pesky hormones. By the way, I seriously wonder why someone would actually choose gluten-free snacks over ones with gluten. Besides celiac, etc., regular bread or crackers are cheaper and taste better. Others have addressed other issues well, so I just wanted to add a wrinkle. Since he seems to love your food so much, why buy alternatives for him? Just buy him the same as you buy yourself. Your child can eat it too eventually. It will make life easier all round. Not the asshole, remind him of his allergies. Remind him how much more expensive your food is. If you have to keep count on a speedsheet, then do it. Show him how much more money he is wasting. Tell him that money could have gone to the baby or a charity to feed starving children. Tell him that you don't understand why he has to basically take the food right out of your child's mouth. Remind him the child might have the same allergies. So you know he is incredibly selfish and self-centered. You know he's willing to steal the food out of your mouth and unwilling to change or even pretend to care about your needs, and you think creating another life with this man is a good idea? Good luck with that terrible decision. I'm sure it will be a massive shock to you when he steals food out of your child's mouth and refuses to put its needs ahead of his. Not the asshole for yelling. Everyone sucks here for bringing another life into the mix. Check the crackers out on Amazon. You might be able to have them sent directly to your home, in large quantities. Something is really, really off with your husband, Op. Please think about couples counseling before your baby arrives. Not the asshole.